This whole entire series is about keeping it clean, so I'm giving you the dirty talk so that you can understand where the dirt is and how to prevent it. The first thing you want to be sure of is that you're coming to a very clean and sanitized workspace. No food, no hair care products, nothing else that can possibly contaminate the makeup. Secondly, you want to make sure that their hands are completely clean. Even if they've washed their hands prior to, it's important that they let you know that they're going to wash them again so that you can see and know that their hands have just been washed. It's like a psychological thing, but it's really quite courteous for the person to at least let you know, hey, I'm going to wash them. Next, they should be asking you about allergies. It's very, very important if you're allergic to latex especially, that they know what you're allergic to, because there may be products that you cannot use. So this is really important. Even if they don't ask you, be sure to ask them. And then from that point forward, they'll probably be more on their toes because you know what you're talking about. Now, if they're starting your makeup from the foundation and building up, they should be starting you off with a cleansed and moisturized face. Now, when I say cleansed, it should be cleansed with some type of astringent. What I like to use are these little cotton swabs. I like the textured ones in case I need to do any exfoliation before I apply the moisturizer. But these are really nice, and I just apply. Now, I make mine at home, so I have it in a little container here, the astringent. It usually has some kind of witch hazel base. Put it on there, swipe you down, make sure you don't have any makeup, any dirt from the day, etc., etc. Make sure that the brushes are clean. Now, ladies, artists, I know that it's difficult to keep clean brushes, especially if you're ripping and running all over the place. Trust me, I have a hectic schedule as well, but it's very important that you clean the brushes before you apply the makeup with the brushes. Deep cleaning is something that should be done once a week to once a month, depending upon how often your brushes are being used. When you are on set, you should expect to see them with some kind of makeup brush cleaner. This one is from Ulta, and it's Japanese. Their professional brush cleaner. This one smells really citrusy though. If you're into that, great. If you're not, don't do it. And then this one is a Makeup Artist Pro Favorites. This is the Cinema Secrets Professional Makeup Brush Cleaner. So this one's really good as well. And they would cleanse it like this, spray in the towel, or spray on the brush. And for those who may want to know, this is a Sigma F05. It's a contour brush, and they can just cleanse it this way. Some people like to cleanse on white towels or white paper towels. This way they can see the dirt, and then once they swirl in a clean area and notice that there's no debris left, the brush is clean. So it's important that you see that the brushes are being cleansed if they're not cleaned already. Secondly, you want to make sure that any of the tools that they're using for your brows are also clean and sterile, not just clean. Alcohol is clean. Sterile is barbicide. Huge, huge difference. This is a blue liquid that kills any and everything that can be on your palettes, your tweezers, scissors, things like that. So you want to make sure you see this solution present. So these are all the utensils that I would use that on. If they are using a razor that's disposable, they should have more than one, so they can use a fresh one for every client, or again be dipping it in the barbicide water mix. No double dipping. This is a Graftobian palette of foundation, and you can see that I have some nick marks in there, and these nick marks are from my spatula. So I just scrape out what I need and put it on my palette here. And I do this per individual for everything. The blush, if it's a cream blush, any loose powders like my benign powders, I pour them out on the palette first and then apply them, so that there is no double dipping. Double dipping is when you take a brush, you put it inside, put it on the face, put the brush back in. So the bacteria and the oils from your face are now inside the product to live and fester on everybody else's face there after yours. I I know it takes a lot of time to take, you know, a piece of product and put it on a palette and then use the palette. Like, the transfer of products can be a bit much, but it is extremely necessary when you're dealing with people, their mouths, their eyes, their nose. These are all areas that you can contract things, viruses, disease, things of that nature, bacteria. It's just messy. So you want to make sure that the products that are being used on you are being transferred to a place, whether it's the back of the hand or a palette, so that it can go from that place to your face. Also, back of the hand is a very popular palette for makeup artists, hence another reason why it's so important that the hands are clean. Another tip on double dipping is powders. Powders are a little more difficult to cleanse, but nevertheless we make it happen. You know, I take my alcohol, which I keep in this blue bottle, and you can give it a mist between clients. Some people, in addition to doing that, take a tissue and wipe each one. And this is a Z palette that I got off of Amazon, and the shadows are a multitude of shadows. There's sleek in here, there's all kinds of stuff in here. But anyway, so that's how they go about cleansing those. One thing that pisses me off the most is mascara. Now, if you bring your own personal mascara, you don't have to worry about this. But for those who see mascara being used and it's out of a tube, and it's terrible. It's terrible what they do, and I cannot believe how often I see this. I see the tubes. They use it on one girl, put it back. They work on another face, bring out the same tube, and apply. It's ridiculously disgusting. Your eyes, your mouth, your nose, these are all places where you can contract diseases, bacteria, viruses, everything. Pink eye, oh, it's the springtime? No. And when this happened to me, like, I could not breathe. I couldn't breathe. I still didn't speak up, so this is why I'm doing this video, is because I'm encouraging you all to speak up and don't be a victim. So what you should see on the table are disposable mascara wands, like this. One-time use, and even if they go back in to do another one, they shouldn't. That's all bad. Every time they go in, it should be one dip, and actually the dip should be a swirl. It's not best to pump it because air gets in and more bacteria gets into the actual tube. So what you want to do is see them go in and swirl and bring out. This way they have most of the product here, and if it's too much product, they can wipe it on the back of the hand and then dip from there, or on the palette and dip from there. But yeah, if they need more, they need to grab another one, go in and apply that way, and it should be different for everybody. Other disposables are Q-tips, wedge sponges. For those makeup artists that like beauty blenders, I love beauty blenders. They apply makeup beautifully. Unfortunately, they do hold a lot of water and therefore a lot of bacteria. So I only really use them when I'm going to do one face jobs, such as weddings or video shoots that I'm working on one artist. We also have these, which are disposable, but the beauty blenders are not disposable. It's like a $20 sponge, and I recommend that you invest in the $20 sponge instead of getting the dupes, because the dupes don't have as much give. They're not as spongy. They don't hold enough water. They're a little more rough. Not rough. They're just more stiff, so they don't hold as much water, and then it defeats the whole purpose of what we're trying to do. These are softer than the dupe beauty blenders at Target, so I just recommend either get it or get these. Like, don't waste your time. Other disposable are lip applicators, which I like, but I do prefer to use the lip brushes and then just dip them in the alcohol in between lip applications. Something else to be mindful of is powder usage. When a brush is used to apply powder, it usually goes in and then there's normally access on the tip. Some people blow, which is terrible, because as you blow, whether you do it on purpose or not, you are getting saliva on these brushes, and then you're putting it on that face, and it's so bogus. So what you want to see happen is the brush goes in and it's tapped off on the side. That is it. There's no exception to that, because it's gross and it's unprofessional. So dip and tap, dip, tap, dip, tap. Another thing to look out for is lashes. When lashes are being applied, the glue has to get tacky before it can be applied. Some people don't want to wait for it to air dry, so they blow on it. The problem with this is, again, you get the saliva on the actual lash band and into the eye. It's best to see a towel, or not a towel, but a something you can fan it with, a piece of cardboard, a palette, whatever, to fan the lashes before you put them on. That way you don't get any bacteria into the other person's eye. So that's one thing you should look out for. That wraps up this episode of Dirty Talk. It's very, very important that you ask questions and don't be nervous. Make sure that the area is clean, the brushes are clean, the hands are clean, and there is no double dipping, and the things that they are using are sterile. It's so important. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If they start acting funky, I would leave. Or I would let them know why I'm asking so many questions. And you shouldn't have a problem with it. If it's someone that's professional, knows what they're doing, and is prepared, they should have no problem answering any questions that you may have and showing you anything that you need to see before services begin. So yeah, I mean, we're talking about your face, okay? Just take the necessary precautions and be safe. Next, is my camera crooked?